How much of a madhouse was WCW?
It's easy to unload on WCW, to cut down WCW. That was terrible, and this is this and that. When I look at WCW, I look at it as actually a very beneficial time because I learned a lot about the business. I was 26, 25 years old, still getting the chance to do what I love to do and making money doing it. So, was I held down? I guess in some ways, but you had guys like Hogan and Savage and, Luger and Sting and Nash and Hall and all these guys that had, all this main event level exposure. So, I mean, they could have done more with the younger guys, and I think they should have, and it was one of the reasons why the company went out of the business. But I don't look back on that time as a bad thing. I had some bad experiences, but the difference between WCW and WWE is that in WWE, Vince is the boss. If Vince says no, it's done. It's no. In WCW, I'm not too sure who the boss was because Bischoff was technically the boss, but Hogan was the boss, and Nash and Hall were the bosses, and then you had bookers like Kevin Sullivan that were supposed to be the bosses, and so you never really knew who am I supposed to talk to, and that's why the WWE has been going for so long, will always be going, because it just had more of a. It was run a lot more like a business and not like a boys' club.
Dave Lagana also told me to ask you. I hit him on Twitter and said Jericho's about to come in. What should I ask him? He said, ask him about Lucy the dog.
Yeah, I write about that in Undisputed. Well, that's going back to what we were talking about.
Wait, remind me.
I'll explain it. I'm getting to it.
Please do.
I'm a trained professional.
Okay.
I have to set it up first.
Okay. I don't know how I missed this.
Yeah. So it's easily forgettable, believe me. So I won the Undisputed Championship. I was the first guy to ever be the champion. I beat The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night.
Of course.
But once I got, the first few years I had in WWE were not easy. And in a lot of ways, I wasn't prepared for it and I wasn't ready for it. And it was cool to be the champion, but I still wasn't quite ready. I look back on those times and I was good, but I wasn't the best. And as the champion, you have to be the best, and so as the time went on, Triple H came back from his injury, and then WrestleMania, I believe it was 18.
Yeah, he said 18.
Yeah, 18 me versus Triple H in the main event for the world title. And he was coming back from his injury that he suffered in a match with me, which was for real. And I was the Undisputed Champion. And I had an idea, and I write about this in Undisputed, where the buildup would be when Triple H came back, he would find out that Stephanie was having an affair on him.
I remember this.
And the affair would be with me because Stephanie and I were huge rivals, and I thought, well, it'd be great because a woman on the road has needs, and my husband was at home, so suddenly you would find out that Stephanie and Jericho had hooked up, and now Triple H was coming back, but they decided that Triple H wasn't the type of babyface who would not know that his wife was being cheating on him, which
he's all knowing,
I guess, and to me it was fine. But my idea was that I'd be banging Stephanie and then become really pussy whipped, like she would be calling the shots, and I would do whatever she said, and I thought that'd be some great heat because everybody knows a friend who has that girlfriend. You're like, come on, grow some balls. You just like, you used to be so cool. Now you're just a shell of yourself. The problem was Vince liked that part of it, but didn't like the
you banging Stephanie part.
Yeah, so I was pussy whipped without the pussy. You know what I mean? So it really didn't make any sense. It really kind of castrated me. So I had to go do all these stupid things, and one of the stupid things I had to do was watching Lucy, Stephanie's dog. I'm the world champion, cleaning up poop out of the dressing room, and then I was supposed to walk her dog, and the dog got like run over by a limousine. It was like an episode of of Dumb and Dumber or something, except for I was the Dumb and Dumber one because I was the world champion. So I didn't have any steam, really. I did one thing right before WrestleMania where I hit him with a sledgehammer in the quad where he had injured it. But that's what I'm talking about. I didn't have that prominence to be able to make that work, or even more so to say, listen, this is not right. Walking a dog, I'm the champion. That's where you kind of have to stand up for yourself. Because as easygoing as I am about wins and losses, if I think that it's right, I'm also very stubborn when it comes to storylines or things. If I don't think something is right, I won't do it, and I'll fight with Vince about it unless he absolutely says you have to do it. And once again, he's the boss, but I have no problems expressing my opinions to him. But at the time, I didn't say anything. I wasn't in that position.
Are you proud that you're at a point now where you're a guy who can actually take time off when you want it, come back, and kind of instantly be really important to the show?
I am proud of it because, like I said, I always treated wrestling as show business. So I never put myself just in a wrestling box. I always played with my band, even when I was first starting at 19. Wrote songs, did demos, acted as much as I could, did all the stuff with VH1. Wrote books, hosted game shows. Anything that I thought I could do well within the realm of this entertainment world, I went and did it. So when it comes time to take a break for the WWE, from the WWE, it's not like I'm taking a break because I just don't feel like working. I'm taking a break because I have all this other stuff going on that I want to focus on. Like my band is doing so good and getting so much momentum after 11 years of working so hard that it was time for me to spend more time with the band. And I mean, thinking about it now, it's kind of hard not to be involved at WrestleMania and seeing all the build up, and I kind of feel like there's like a big party in the room, and I'm on the outside at the glass looking through the glass because I'm not allowed to come inside. But when I look at what's going on right now with the return of The Rock and all this other stuff that's going on, if Jericho came back in time for WrestleMania, it would almost be kind of getting lost in the shuffle. So I have no problem sitting back and waiting.
But is it hard to not go? Like just
it's hard. It's hard not to be involved. I would never go if I wasn't doing anything.
But
just
that's
to
the thing,
hang around.
you couldn't, right? That would just hurt. It would just kind of stink to be there and not do anything.
I would just feel stupid. Like, why am I even here? It's like it's a waste of time to be here and not be involved. I mean, if I'm going to be there, I better be doing something. But just watching on TV is what I'm talking about.
Will you though? When it comes down to it, do you sit there and watch a big pay-per-view?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said, when I left in 2005, I write about it in Undisputed. I was really burned out on the business. I couldn't envision myself wrestling anymore. I wasn't happy with my performances. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. This time when I left, it was different. I thought I was doing the best work of my career. I was really enjoying myself. And so I watch the shows, as much as I can, and read about them and watch the pay-per-views if I can, if I'm not busy. And it's fun for me because now I'm a fan. I can watch as a fan. But still, you feel that little worm inside of you of like, oh, yeah, but I could do this, do that, like we were talking earlier. But when The Rock came back, I thought it was great. But then when the initial markness kind of wore off, then I started thinking, oh, it'd be cool if I could run in or if it led to something.
Do you ever miss JR when you're watching TV?
I miss JR when I was wrestling. I mean, nobody can sell a match or sell an angle like Jim Ross can. I mean, he really is. You talk about the best in the world at what you do. That's him. And for whatever reason, I mean, I think Vince has always had some issues with Jim.
Everyone says that. I think
because Jim came from WCW, and it was always that. I don't know. He was, and I think Vince is also very stubborn. The fans want JR so badly. Maybe that's another reason. I don't know. All I know is if you're talking about your product, and maybe Jim's older or not as pretty as something else, who cares? I mean, John Madden's still on TV. Don Cherry's still on TV, and they're 70, 80 years old. Who cares about the face? It's the voice. It's the feeling. It's the feeling. And I find now with Michael Cole, he is doing a good job as the heel, but it's hard to have him switch back and forth from shameless Miz panderer to selling a pay-per-view because I don't know, there's no commitment there. There's no credibility.
Absolutely. I've been having that problem. I appreciate that you're doing a slow build on this character and eventually we're going to hate him so much, but he can't be the lead guy.
He can't.
Because the lead guy almost, I don't want to say has to be a babyface from everything I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Or,
has
all
to
the way
be
down.
Unbiased.
Right. Or unbiased.
Unbiased. Right. It's the voice of reason, and I hate like some of the divas come out and say, oh, this diva looks ugly or she's big, she's hefty. Why would you ever say that? It's like these girls are supposed to be the most gorgeous women in the world, finally to an athlete, and you're talking about how
the lead voice
is saying, oh, she's ugly. Like, why would you? It doesn't make any sense, and I can't believe that they're allowing him to get away with that.
So they should just I don't understand why they don't shift him to full on heel and then have someone else kind of lead and let him be the character.
I guess they don't have anybody else. I don't know. From what I'm seeing, it seems that they're going to have maybe Lawler do something with Cole at WrestleMania. And if that's the case, then Jim Ross is going to have to commentate it. But I mean, it's embarrassing. It's like The Rock coming back when JR commentates a match.
Can you imagine?
He's so far above everybody else. It's embarrassing for the guys that are doing it.
And then you can't help but think. You just reminded me. Imagine if JR had been there Monday. Oh my God, they're great. I mean, it would have taken it to a whole different level.
Talking about it afterwards, exactly, and selling that afterwards is where.
Do you have any favorite moments? I mean, my favorite thing is the other day I was looking up just random JR moments. Anytime he says that someone's dead, matter of factly. My God, he's dead instantly. Is there any JR calls in particular that used to?
I love when he says that a match is bowling shoe ugly. Because he'll call. I mean, he's saying this match sucks, but it's bowling shoe ugly. Like how Texas or Oklahoman is that? Right?
He's like the Dan Rather of the WWE, like random sayings,
thoughts, and yeah. There's a guy in Calgary when I was first starting. His name was Ed Whalen.
Yeah, he was the guy forever for Stampede.
Yeah, he would say things like, "There's a malfunction at the junction." That's what he would say if somebody screwed up a spot, or this is a ring-a-ding-dong dandy. Like he'd have these little catchphrases, and I always loved that. And when Jim Ross would come up, he's running like a scalded dog. Like, have you ever seen a scalded dog? Like, what does a scalded dog run like?